you design a brilliant prototype on a breadboard. It works perfectly on your desk, and you feel like an absolute engineering genius. But the moment you want to move that tangled mess of wires outside into the elements, reality hits. What if I told you that you could bridge the massive gap between amateur hardware hacking and professional IoT hardware design? In this three-part series, we are taking an ESP32 from a messy prototype to a fully manufactured 2-year battery life, low-power soil moisture sensor, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. But first, guys, I want to take a quick second to ask for a massive favor. If you get value out of this series, please hit that like button and subscribe. Educational hardware channels like this survive on your support. It means the world. I personally read every single comment, and I promise you, I will listen to your feedback and incorporate it into future builds. Okay, let's build this beast. Before we dive into the hardcore engineering, a quick note on the tools. The entire schematic and custom PCB layout for this project were designed using KICAD. If you are just starting out with custom board design, scan this QR code or check the description to watch my previous video. I go into exact detail on how to set up your KICAD environment, add custom footprints, and import component libraries specifically for ESP32 projects. Alright, when taking a project from breadboard to product, most makers make a fatal error. They design a 3D printed box first, and then try to cram the motherboard, batteries, and sensors inside. It leads to cable routing nightmares. Instead, we are using a professional workflow PCBA-driven design. We engineer the electronics first. We build the structural integrity and battery alignment directly into the fiberglass of the PCB. Once it's perfect, we basically shrink wrap the 3D enclosure around it. Now, before we look at the motherboard, we have to talk about the sensor. Have you ever wondered why cheap analog soil sensors corrode so fast? They pass a direct DC current through exposed copper traces into wet soil. This creates rapid galvanic corrosion. The dirt literally eats your sensor alive. To build a product that lasts for years, we are using true capacitive sensing. Instead of exposing the copper, we utilize the FR4 fiberglass core and the green PCB solder mask to act as a permanent waterproof barrier. We use an industrial TLC55 timer configured as a high-frequency oscillator running at 2.1 MHz. The copper plates safely buried inside our PCB act as the capacitor. As the dirt gets wetter, it shifts the frequency of the 5.5 timer. It's completely digital, incredibly precise, and mathematically immune to corrosion. So, our design consists of 3 separate boards: the radio motherboard, the power hat, and the sensor blade. But ordering these separately could triple our setup fees. Instead, we are going to combine all 3 designs onto one single panel. Since our boards are round, standard V-cuts won't work. So we are designing mouse bites, tiny 2mm breakaway tabs, dotted with unplated 0.5mm holes. This is one of the greatest cost-saving tricks for makers. And to manufacture this custom panel, we are using the sponsor of this video, PCBWay. You simply upload your single 100 by 100mm Gerber zip file to their quoting engine, make sure to select panel by customer, and you are good to go. You can even use their official KICAD plugin to generate and upload your files with a single click. PCBWay is absolutely incredible for prototyping, and their turnkey PCBA assembly service can even source the parts and solder the microscopic SMD components for you, saving you hours of squinting through a microscope. Huge thanks to PCBWay. Link in the description. Okay, moving on to power. Designing an ESP32 C3 battery-powered IoT sensor requires maniacal attention to detail. We need 3 AA batteries to last for over 2 years. Standard sensors are left on constantly, slowly draining the battery. To prevent this, we implemented a zero-leakage parasitic power circuit. Instead of wiring the 5.5 timer to the main 3.3 volt rail, we power it directly from an ESP32 GPIO pin. The ESP32 wakes up, sets the pin high to power the sensor, reads the pulses for exactly 20 milliseconds, and then immediately kills the power. By physically cutting the power, our quiescent current on the probe drops to an absolute 0.0 microamps. We paired this with a precision voltage divider and an ultra-efficient 573 nanometer LED that stays visible even when the batteries drop down to 2 volts. The result? A deep sleep current of just 40 to 50 microamps. If you want to master ESP32 power management, scan the code to check out my dedicated deep sleep tutorial. Now, PCBs aren't just for routing electricity, they are rigid structural components. Look at the motherboard and the lower power hat. These distinct 8 o'clock alignment notches act as asymmetrical keyways. They will slide perfectly into the custom 3D printed rail we're building in Part 3, preventing the board from twisting when shoved into the ground. And to solve the battery spring snapping issue, we completely ditched them. We are using heavy-duty through-hole POGO pins for our battery contacts. These spring-loaded plungers handle the physical shock of insertion beautifully. The hallmark of breadboard design is a massive web of jumper wires. We are getting rid of all of them. Let me introduce you to the PCB Mortise and Tenon joint. Just like in woodworking, we routed a precise 1.7mm slot into the horizontal radio motherboard. On the vertical sensor blade, we designed a matching neck with exposed copper pads. You simply slide the blade up into the motherboard at a perfect 90-degree angle. The pads align perfectly. When the panel arrived from PCBWay, I snapped the mouse bites apart, filed the edges, and got to work. I taped down the custom stencil, applied the solder paste, and painstakingly placed the SMD components. Once it hit the hot plate, the magic happened. Crucial DFM tip: always perform a continuity test right after reflow to ensure there are no hidden shorts. If you've never hand-assembled a board, check out my full tutorial linked on screen. Next, I tackled that structural through-hole soldering. I slid the sensor blade into the slot and ran a heavy, permanent fillet solder joint across the junction, just like caulking a bathtub. This forms a joint that is mechanically rigid and electrically perfect. 0 wires required. The hardware is built. Now we need to prove it works. And the best part? You don't have to write the code from scratch. The complete, ready-to-flash test program, including the Wi-Fi initialization and the deep sleep routines, is available directly from our GitHub repository. Because our capacitive frequency is highly variable, standard Arduino digital read loops are way too slow. We must rely on the ESP32's hardware interrupts, specifically the pulse counter, to measure the 555 timer's frequency. Our code is smart. It throws out the very first reading to clear startup noise, batches 5 rapid readings for an average, and instantly kills the power. It even checks for out-of-bounds frequencies to prevent pushing junk data to our cloud dashboard. And the real-world results? In dry air, the 555 timer screams at over 100,000 Hz. Clutched in my fingers, it drops to 25,000. Immersed in water, it plummets to 13,000. The hardware is officially a massive success. We have successfully migrated from a messy breadboard to a structurally sound, panelized, wire-free PCBA that draws virtually 0 power while asleep. But great hardware is only half the battle. In Part 2, we are diving deep into the software and reliability. We'll code a headless Wi-Fi config portal, and actually, if you want a head start on that right now, scan this QR code to check out my Ultimate Wi-Fi Manager tutorial. We'll also calibrate these raw frequencies into usable soil moisture percentages and push that data to the cloud. We will also reveal exactly why a professionally manufactured board is absolutely mandatory for Wi-Fi transmission when your antenna is sitting right above wet mud. Until then, grab the open source BOM and KICAD files from the GitHub link below and try ordering your own panel from PCBWay. Let me know in the comments what you plan to use this sensor for, and I will see you in Part 2.